Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Here are the top stories we're tracking for you on Tuesday, the 9th of January. Indian Prime Minister inaugurates first PIO Parliamentary Conference in New Delhi. Afghan Army claims over 6,000 insurgents killed in past 10 months. And Kite Festival in Western India draws enthusiasts from across the world. And now for all the details. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Tuesday inaugurated the first Persons of Indian Origin or PIO Parliamentary Conference in New Delhi. The conference is being attended by over 100 lawmakers of Indian origin from around 23 countries.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Tuesday said reform to transform was India's guiding principle as the world's perception of the country was changing. The Prime Minister made the remarks at the inauguration of the Maiden Persons of Indian Origin or PIO Parliamentary Conference in New Delhi. Asserting that bodies like World Bank, IMF and Moody's were looking at India positively, Modi said his government was aimed at uprooting corruption.
आज पूरे विश्व का भारत पर फोकस बढ़ रहा है। विश्व का हमारे प्रति जो नजरिया बदल रहा है, तो इसका मुख्य कारण यही है कि भारत स्वयं बदल रहा है, भारत ट्रांसफॉर्म हो रहा है। यह बदलाव आर्थिक, सामाजिक स्तर पर होने के साथ ही वैचारिक स्तर पर भी आया है।
Since Mr. Modi took over, there has been a rapid change. Files are moving faster. There's a lot of action happening.
India celebrates January 9th as Pravasi Bharatiya Divas or Overseas Indians Day to mark the contribution of the overseas Indian community towards the development of their homeland. The country has the world's second largest diaspora after China, with more than 25 million people settling overseas since colonial times, from Guyana in South America to Singapore in East Asia.
Security forces on Tuesday gunned down 2 suspected militants in an encounter in Anantnag district of India's Jammu and Kashmir province. Meanwhile, 2 militants and 9 overground workers of militant outfits were arrested in Supor district of the province on Tuesday.
Two militants were killed in an encounter with security forces on Tuesday in Anantnag district of India's northern Jammu and Kashmir province. Security officials said a regular cordon and search operation launched in Kokarnag forest area of Anantnag turned into an encounter in which the 2 militants were neutralized. The identities of the slain militants are yet to be ascertained.
We have so far recovered 1 dead body of the terrorist, and the search is still going on.
Meanwhile, 2 militants and 9 overground workers or OGWs of militant outfits were also arrested in Sopore district of the province. The arrest followed a joint operation launched on Sunday by the security forces in the province. India accuses Pakistan of training and arming militants and helping them infiltrate across the line of control that divides Kashmir. Pakistan denies those allegations.
In news from Pakistan, the Pentagon officials on Monday conveyed to Islamabad that it needs to take decisive action against militant groups operating on its territory if it wants Washington to resume security aid. The US last week announced it is withholding all kinds of security assistance to Pakistan for failing to act against militancy.
The United States has told Pakistan what it must do if it wants Washington to resume paying out hundreds of millions of dollars in security aid, the Pentagon said on Monday. Pentagon spokesman Colonel Rob Manning said our expectations are straightforward. Taliban and Haqqani leadership and attack planners should no longer be able to find safe havens or conduct operations from Pakistani soil. He stressed that the suspension of funding was not permanent and that the money was not being diverted elsewhere. The statement comes a week after US President Donald Trump froze worth $900 million aid for Pakistan, saying Islamabad is not doing enough to target Afghan Taliban and Haqqani group bases. The move has heightened tensions between the two countries. Last week, Pakistani Foreign Minister Khwaja Asif slammed that the US behavior is neither that of an ally nor of a friend. Islamabad has denied US allegations and has called Trump's decision to threaten funding counterproductive.
More news from Pakistan. 4 witnesses recorded their statements in the corruption hearing against Pakistan's ousted Premier Nawaz Sharif and his family on Tuesday. An accountability court has been hearing 3 corruption references filed by the National Accountability Bureau or NAB against Sharif. During Tuesday's hearing, a senior official of the Securities and Exchange Commission of Pakistan also recorded a statement and presented records of Sharif's son Hussain Nawaz's textile company. The court was later adjourned till next hearing when 3 more prosecution witnesses have been summoned to record their statements. The next hearing in the case is scheduled to be held on January 16th. And moving on, poor educational infrastructure and lack of job opportunities have fueled a sense of deprivation among the youth in Pakistan-administered Kashmir. Locals in the illegally occupied region allege that it is a part of Pakistan government's agenda to keep the region underdeveloped.
The persisting condition of poor educational infrastructure in Pakistan-administered Kashmir has created a worrisome environment for the youth in the region. The socio-economic development of the illegally occupied region has become stagnant as a result. Locals allege absence of universities offering specialized courses has made the youth incapable of building a secure future.
National education policy पे अमल दरामद कि हमारा आज़ाद कश्मीर का जो टेरेन है ये रफ एंड टफ टेरेन है, जोग्राफिकल माल वकू ऐसा है कि यहाँ ज़्यादा इदारों की ज़रूरत है और राइट टू एजुकेशन एक आईनी हक है कि हर बच्चा बच्ची उसका हक है। रियासत का ये फ़र्ज़ बनता है कि उस बच्चे को ये हक दे, तालीम उसके डोर स्टेप पे मुहैया करे।
People of Pakistan-administered Kashmir have been waiting for years now for a better administration that could work for their development. However, the corruption and ignorance in the system has become a major challenge for the growth of the region, leaving the future of youth in dark.
In news from Afghanistan, over 6,000 insurgents have been killed by Afghan armed forces in the past 10 months, a top army official claimed on Monday. Afghan government is currently considering more troops to be included in the structure of the special forces to tackle insurgency.
A top Afghan army official on Monday claimed that the security forces have killed over 6,000 insurgents in clashes in the past 10 months. According to the army official, over 2,000 missions were carried out by the Afghan special forces in a period of 10 months, and they also managed to destroy around 15 strategic centers belonging to the Taliban and the Islamic State. The Afghan forces are being backed by US troops who are training them so that they can eventually take over the country's defense and security.
در چوکات قلوردوی عملیات خاص فعلا 4 لوا 10 کندک کماندو 4 کندک زرهدار که وسایط بسیار مدرن در اختیار ما قرار گرفته وجود دارد که تقریبا در حدود 14 ولایت افغانستان قرارگاه دائمی از اینا هستند.
The joint forces have claimed some success over insurgent groups, but attacks on civilian targets in the country have continued. Afghan government is currently considering more troops to be included in the structure of the special forces.
And moving on to news from Nepal, Nepal's Rashtriya Janata Party or RJPN has shown willingness to join the to-be-formed government if their demands are fulfilled. A party leader, however, threatened to hold protest if their demands, which include constitutional amendment, are not met.
Member of Nepal's Madhya-based Rashtriya Janata Party Nepal or RJPN, Anil Kumar Jha, has recently shown willingness to join the to-be-formed government if his party's demands are met. Jha, on participation in the new government, said if the to-be-formed body fulfills the demands of RJPN, which have been raised around 2.5 years back, then they could participate. The main concern of RJPN has always been the rights of Madhesis in Nepal's constitution through its amendment.
That will depend upon the structure of government and which party will lead the government and who would be the Prime Minister. Because no any party have their own majority. But yes, we can support the government.
With a majority of 50% in the recently held polls, Left Alliance comprising of CPN, UML and Maoist Centre are poised to take the lead of the new government. The CPN UML, which stood against the provisions of Constitution Amendment despite its support to endorse the First Amendment, is likely to be seen clashing with RJPN. RJPN has threatened to hold protests again if its demands are not met. A total of 147 Indian fishermen on Monday crossed over to their country through India's Attari-Wagah border after spending months in captivity in Pakistan. Pakistan had arrested the fishermen for fishing in its territorial waters and released them as a goodwill gesture.
A total of 147 Indian fishermen on Monday crossed over to their country through India's Attari-Wagah border after spending months in captivity in Pakistan. Pakistan, in a goodwill gesture, had released the fishermen on Sunday. The fishermen had been arrested for fishing in Pakistan's territorial waters.
हम रात को सोए हुए थे और रात को हमारी कश्ती उन लोग के पानी में चली गई। फिर रात को उसके जहाज वाले ने आके हम लोग को पकड़ लिया। फिर वहाँ हम 10 महीने रहे।
The fishermen release followed a December announcement by Pakistan's Foreign Ministry spokesman Mohammad Faisal that nearly 300 Indian fishermen would be freed in 2 phases till January 8th. Fishermen from Pakistan and India are frequently detained for illegally fishing in each other's territorial waters. The two nations have a disagreement over their maritime border in the Arabian Sea.
An ongoing international kite festival in India's western Gujarat province is attracting kite flyers from across the globe. The festival, which has been celebrated since 1989, will conclude on January 14th.
The skyline of Ahmedabad city in India's western Gujarat province is nowadays wearing a vibrant look as the 29th International Kite Festival has kicked off with flyers from different countries. Colourful kites of different shapes and sizes are dotting the skyline of the city. Around 150 delegates from 44 countries, including the UK, South Korea and Malaysia, are participating in the 7-day event.
Oh, it's very nice and it's very funny to meet all these people, both Indians and international.
The Kite Festival coincides with Uttarayan or Makar Sankranti, which marks the days of the Hindu calendar when winters begin turning to summers. The festival in Gujarat, which has been celebrated since 1989, will conclude on January 14.
Well, that's the way it was in South Asia this evening. Before we conclude, the top stories once again. Indian Prime Minister inaugurates first PIO Parliamentary Conference in New Delhi. Afghan Army claims over 6,000 insurgents killed in past 10 months. And Kite Festival in Western India draws enthusiasts from across the world. Now our viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsiaNewsline. Well, that's all in tonight's edition. We'll see you same time tomorrow. Good night.